Hi, welcome to Feather and Flow Yoga and to today's class, which is a yin yoga sequence to target the hips. The hips can often become tightened or maybe weakened due to our lifestyles at the moment. So that may be that we spend more time seated, perhaps for work, or standing, but possibly we have one knee bent or poor posture, which can cause those muscles to weaken or to tighten up. Even playing the same sport repetitively or the same workout style, maybe running or cycling a lot, can all have an impact on these muscles surrounding the hips and the joints, and that can in turn lead to any pain or discomfort in the low back areas. So we're going to really target those places of the body with this yin sequence. And in yin, we typically hold a pose for around 3 to 5 minutes. So it's not your typical flowing style class like a vinyasa class. There's only a handful of poses in each yin class, and we find our way into those positions and then stay with it for around, as I said, 3 to 5 minutes. And that's going to really help to target the deep connective tissues, the ligaments, the fascias, and it helps to improve circulation to the joints, and it really helps with your flexibility. So it's really beneficial for the body. I'm going to have a couple of props nearby. If you don't have any props to hand, that's not a problem. You can still do this whole sequence without. But I wanted to offer you the option. So the ones that I have to hand are 2 yoga blocks and a blanket. So we'll begin today with our first pose, which is a wide knee child's pose. And I'm going to use my blanket as a prop for this pose. Now you could, if you find that your knees tend to hurt when you're in a child's pose or a wide knee child's pose, you could place this under your knees for support, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is to roll the blanket, and then I'm going to place it underneath kind of the bend where my foot is going to rest. The tops of my feet will rest over the top. So bringing your blanket into position if you wish. You can also have a block nearby so that you can have the option of using that. So bringing the big toe mounds to touch, sending the knees out wide. And then from here, walking the upper body forwards, arms out long, and you can bring your forehead to rest on a block if that feels good. Remember, you have 3 different heights of the block, so you could find what works best for you, or you can just bring the head down to the mat, however you prefer. And let's just begin with a big breath in through the nose, feel the belly go round, and a big breath out through the mouth with a sigh. Bring your awareness now to the breath, just noticing the sounds, noticing the movement of the belly with each inhale and exhale. Now, sometimes in these slower paced classes, the thinking mind can try and switch back on again. It can be hard to keep the mind clear. So there's a number of ways that you can try to keep those thoughts at bay. And one of the ways I like to do that is to focus on the breath and the movements of the body. Or you could even count the breaths. So you could count the inhales and the exhales, trying to make them equal in length. So I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll do a few rounds together, starting with an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can continue like that in your own time. You can change the number that you're counting up to with each inhale and exhale. Just try and keep them the same. Maybe you can go as far as 5 or 6, deepening the breath. And we'll be here just for one more minute. When you're ready, slowly lift the head and really mindfully and slowly move your way into a tabletop position. You can place any props off the mat, keeping them within reach. And we'll just take a really brief downward facing dog, maybe pedaling through the legs or bumping the hips from side to side. And then from here, step your right foot to the front of the mat and bring your right hand to the inside of that foot and then just heel toe the foot out just to the right a couple of inches. And then from here, lay the left knee down on the mat and send the hips forwards. So you're stretching, bring your foot to the outside of your right hand. This is a dragon pose. And have your blocks nearby. We're going to stay with the arms upright for the first half. And then we can move deeper if we wish after that time. So breathing into that left hip flexor, shoulders away from the ears. If this is too much, you can always use a block under each hand to give you a little bit more height. Just find what works best for you. You could also place your blanket under your left knee if you're feeling any discomfort there. Remembering that we never want to feel any pain, so if you're feeling any pain, maybe back off a little. Otherwise, see if you can just sit with the sensations that arise. If you wish, you can incorporate a Yuja Breath here, which is basically a really soothing sound as we breathe. Some people like to call it the ocean breath. And essentially all you need to do is lightly constrict the throat as you exhale, just to give a real soothing sound. So from here you can choose to stay exactly where you are, or if you want to go a little deeper, we can lower down either all the way to the forearms, or if that's too much, you could bring the blocks down and then come down onto the elbows, so you're still coming lower than you were. So again, just finding what works best for you. Everybody is different. We all use our bodies in different ways, maybe different sports or jobs. All of those things have an impact on our flexibility. So there's no right or wrong here, just finding what works best for you and your body. And it's not uncommon when we're doing work on the hip areas for some emotions to be released. So whether that is maybe frustration or anger or sadness or even laughter and giggles. Sometimes a lot of those things can rise up when we work deeply into the hip areas. And that's okay, just allow whatever happens to happen. Trying to maintain that full, even breath, nourishing those vital organs. Just one more minute here. Okay, if you are lower down to the forearms, bring the shoulders back bring the hands back to the mat, under the shoulders. And from here, lift the back knee, and you're going to come into a pigeon pose. So you're sending your right foot behind the left hand and keeping the right knee behind the right hand. Send the hips back and sit tall. Traditionally in this pose you have the shin or the knee at a right angle, so the shin is parallel with the edge of the mat. That's often not accessible to a lot of us, so if you need to bring that heel in closer towards the thigh, no shame in that at all. Find your edge, making sure that the hips are even, so you're not rolling onto your thigh and kind of collapsing that weight down. Instead, the hips remain in line with one another, and you have the option to place a block under the right sitting bone for support if that helps you. So take your time just finding what works best for you, something that you can stay with for a few minutes. And when you find your shape, try and encourage the shoulders to come away from the ears and an opening through the heart center. As you're ready, we're going to begin to walk the hands out in front of us, coming into a folded version. So you can lower down onto the elbows, or you can use your blocks so that you're not quite so low down, or you can bring the arms all the way out, bringing the head down to the mat, or even resting the forehead on a block. So lots of options here to make some work for you. You don't need to use any blocks at all if you don't wish to. And into your sleeping swan asana. And maybe just checking in with yourself, noticing if that thinking mind has switched back on. If it has, just seeing if you can shift your awareness back into your breath, sensations that you're feeling. If anything's feeling maybe tight here, see if you can use your exhales to really focus on that area, helping you to soften into the posture. And as you're ready, begin to walk the hands back up towards you. And you can lightly roll onto your right side here. Be really careful and mindful with each movement as you come out of this position. And from here we'll take a regular child's pose, but this time with the toes tucked. So the knees can be together or hip distance apart. Tuck the toes under and sit back, and then from here walk the arms out. Once more you have the option to use your block for your forehead if you wish. And bow down into your child's pose. Okay, from here round forwards to your tabletop position, and then lift the knees and step your left foot to the front of the mat. And from here, heel toe your foot out further to the left so that you can bring your hand to the inside of that foot. Coming into dragon pose on the left side. Maybe noticing how one side feels different to the other, and how that's perfectly normal. Breathing into those hip flexors. Maintaining that full, even breath. Trying to keep your inhales and your exhales the same length of time. And from here you have the option to stay where you are with the arms extended, or to lower down either onto your blocks with the elbows bent, or all the way down with the forearms on the mat. And remembering we really don't want to feel any pain at all, so really know your limits. Find your edge, but make sure you don't go beyond that edge. And one thing that Yin Yoga's really taught me is how to just be with myself when I'm feeling maybe some discomfort or some tension or tightness in the muscles, and to just really breathe through it. Focusing our concentration on the breath can just sometimes distract from other things that are going on. One more minute here. And when you're ready, rise back up onto the hands, extending the arms, and we'll find our way into Pigeon Pose. So sending the left foot over to the right side of your mat. The knee comes behind the left hand, the left wrist. Right leg straight back behind you. Peel the chest up. Option to place a block under the left sitting bone for support. Particularly if you're feeling quite high up here, the block can be really helpful. Just provide a little bit of stability. Lengthening through the spine. Lifting the chest, shoulders away from the ears. And breathe. And from here, begin to walk the arms out, maybe resting on the elbows. Option to use a block once more for the head. Any setting that works best for you. You have 3 different heights with these blocks. Or you can bring your forehead down to the mat with the arms extended out long. Just checking in now if there's any tension through the jaw or around the corners of the mouth. See if you can soften those areas. checking in once more with the thinking mind. It's getting busy, which is perfectly normal when we're doing these slower paced sequences. Maybe give the mind a job to do, like counting the breaths, counting each inhale for a count of 4, maybe 5 or 6, and the same with the exhales, making them even and full. And as you're ready, gently guide your hands back towards the body and slowly roll onto your left side. And from here we'll come into a butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet to touch and making a diamond shape. So keeping the feet a little way out in front of you. Sit tall, and then as you exhale, bringing the chest and the belly down towards the feet, folding as much as feels good for you. And often in yin we find that maybe after a minute has passed, we're able to go a little deeper. So if you feel yourself opening up in a shape after that minute has passed and you want to go further, then of course feel free to do so. Just honour what your body needs and make sure that you are finding your edge and not stepping beyond that edge. Big, deep, nourishing breaths in and out through the nose. And as you're ready, gently guide yourself to an upright position. And from here, bring your left knee so the knee is bent and down on the ground in line with the belly button. And then place your right foot to the outside edge of the left knee and see if you can bring the knees to stack on top of one another. coming into a shoelace pose. So the heels of your feet are down by the sides of your legs. And if this is really uncomfortable, you can extend the left leg and do a half shoelace pose. So we'll stay sitting upright for the first half, just noticing how it feels, noticing where you feel the sensations. And see if you can allow yourself to just sit here with whatever arises. Noticing if you're holding on to any tension through the shoulders or the jaw. Seeing if you can just soften and release. You can choose to stay like this, sitting up tall, or if you wish, you can begin to walk the upper body forwards, folding over the legs as far as feels good for you. Breathe into it, really nourish the body with full, even breaths. Breathing through the nose. As you're ready, walk the hands closer to the body as you come to sit up tall. Unravel the legs, you can use your hands to do so. Just be mindful of any sensations that you feel. Bringing the feet out wide, hands down by your sides, and just window wipe the legs, moving one way and then the other. Feeling a release. And then we'll come into shoelace on the other side. So this time your right knee comes down to the mat first, belly button and knee in line with one another. And then place your left foot to the outside edge of that right knee and see if you can bring the knees on top of one another. Again, option to extend the lower leg, the right leg. Take your time coming into it. And when you're ready, just see if you can relax the shoulders. Notice any tension. Just scanning through the body and seeing if you can let go of that tension. In yin yoga, there will always be a little bit of tension in the areas that you're working on, and that's normal. They are still active poses. But when I say to release a tension, I mean kind of in the areas where you may be responding to any sensations. So see if you can relax those shoulders down away from the ears. Relax the jaw, corners of the mouth, maybe the forehead. Tuning in once more to that Yuja Breath, if that's something that you like to incorporate into your practice. Listening to the soothing sensations, the soothing sounds. And once more you have the option to stay here, sitting up tall, or to walk the arms out and fold over the legs. As you're ready, gently guide the hands back towards the body. You can use your hands to unravel the legs. Slowly, with control, bringing the feet out wide once more, and we'll window wiper those legs, noticing how that feels. And from here we'll come to lie down on our mats. I'll straighten mine up, so move it. So coming to lie down, and we'll take a twist. So keeping the knees bent, and then lift the hips just lightly and send the hips over to your left, and then let the knees fall to the right. You can keep the hands resting on the belly, or you can take the arms out wide, maybe even cat-kiss the arms if that feels good. And you have the option to turn your head to look out to the left. And you can choose to keep the legs as they are, or for a little bit of extra resistance, you can pick the right foot up from underneath and place it on top of the left knee. And as you're ready, gently release. Send the hips back to the center, the knees back, and then lightly bump the hips over to the right this time, and send your knees to the left. Option to turn the head to look out over your right shoulder. And again, option to place that left foot on top of the knee if you wish. Gently release, sending the knees back to the center, hips back in line. And then from here we'll take our final shape, Shavasana. So extending the legs out long. One thing that I like to do if I have my blanket nearby is to take the rolled up blanket and place it under the knees. That feels really nice. So the feet are out wide, allow those toes to splay out to the sides. Lay back. Take your time getting comfortable here. Hands can rest on the belly, or the arms can come out to the sides with the palms facing up. And go ahead and close your eyes and just allow a sense of heaviness to wash over your body. A deep relaxation as you feel your body grow heavy from the heels of your feet, traveling up the calves to your knees, your thighs and your hips. Your back feels heavy and supported. Shoulders grow heavy. That sensation travels down the arms to the wrists and the hands. And your head feels heavy and supported. Closing the eyes, softening the forehead, the eyebrows, the space in between the eyebrows, even the corners of the eyes. Corners of the mouth relax, and the jaw softens. Allowing yourself this time to do nothing but just be here in relaxation. And we'll be here for a few minutes and I'll let you know when Shavasana is complete. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, becoming aware once more of the space around you. And when you're ready, slowly rolling onto one side. And then guiding yourself back to a seated position with the hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you like my video, please let me know with a thumbs up, or I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And please subscribe to the Feather and Flow Yoga YouTube channel. Namaste.